Hello everyone, my name is Krystle. I am on the McLean County Board and I represent West Normal. So if you live in Cardinal Court, the Oaks on Hovey, the College Parks Apartments, the college apartments that are right across from Heartland Community College, you are all in my district, everything west of Adelaide. I am your representative where you live. So thank you so much for coming here tonight and being a part of this event, talking about how much we're paying for rent in Normal. I first ran for the McLean County Board 2 years ago in 2022, and one of the things that I found while I was canvassing my district and talking to a lot of the students, especially graduate students that are living in District 4 right outside of campus, was that they were losing their housing. We had something happening in 2022 where we were coming out of the pandemic. All of the eviction moratoriums were lifted and landlords were taking that opportunity to get rid of a lot of their tenants that they could evict. And we had a lot of developers coming into town buying up these properties from landlords that were sick of being landlords. They didn't want to deal with renters anymore, and they were selling to large development corporations, and those companies were coming in and immediately raising rent by $300, $400 in some cases. One of my friends was a graduate student at the time, and she was renting a townhouse in my district paying $850 a month. That townhouse got bought out, and she ended up being forced into a situation that wasn't ideal for her. She did have a child, and she had to scramble very quickly to figure out where she was going to live because the $400 increase on her townhouse is not something that she could afford working as a graduate worker at Illinois State University and living off of student loans and other kinds of unsustainable income. And luckily for her, she was able to quickly buy a house and move in there and be able to start her family and live comfortably, but that has not been the case for a lot of students that we are seeing that go to ISU and a lot of young people that live in our community. One of the big things that I found out when I was running for office is that in Normal, according to our recent census data, the population in Normal, the median age is 25 years old. We have a very, very young population here, mostly because of all of the students that go to ISU. Our total population in Normal is 54,000, and I believe the ISU student population makes up somewhere between like 15 and 19,000 of that. So you guys make a really big impact in our community, and that gives you a lot of power to be able to change things in the community, like getting our elected officials to support things that will make your quality of life better and more affordable, that will hopefully enable you to stay in our community after you graduate and start your families or careers or lives here as young adults. The problem that we're facing is a lot of these 25-year-olds are not making enough money to do this. The average income for a single adult in Normal, Illinois is $31,000 per year. That is $14.60 an hour. That means the majority of the people living in our community are not even making 15 bucks an hour. That's not even close to a living wage. And rent right now for a 2-bedroom apartment in McLean County is $1,260. That means if you're following the rent algorithm that you need to determine if you can afford it, to make 3 times that means that you would be making $45,000 a year in order to afford the average apartment here. So that's a $15,000 wage gap between what the average person in Normal, Illinois is making in wages and what they need to be making just to afford a basic apartment here. In the meantime, even though we know this census data is out there, we have the Economic Development Council and local governments really pushing that we need luxury housing, that we need apartments that are between $2,000 and $4,000 a month, knowing that the majority of the people in this community aren't going to be able to afford that. The more we build of this type of housing, these expensive units, the more it drives up the market rent on simple 2-bedroom apartments that we saw renting for $800 4 years ago that are now $1,260. So this is a conversation that I've been having continually in our community, the need to get the greed of corporate landlords under control, the ways that we need to be able to regulate price gouging on rent the same way that our legislators in Illinois are trying to regulate price gouging on prescription drugs. There's no reason that if we could take on the pharmaceutical industry, we can't take on the real estate industry. So I thank all of you for coming here tonight and being a part of this conversation.